Hello, and welcome to the director's commentary for The Girls Are Calling Woohoo, the entire saga. If you are listening to this, you might have an idea of what The Girls Are Calling Woohoo is. I will explain it, I guess. As with the Girls Are Calling Woohoo project, this is the first one. I'm watching it right now. I don't know what this director's commentary will be when I start it. That's what this whole project was, sort of. I started doing something and did not know where it would lead. If you're watching, I was just walking right near a Scientology center in New York. I had brunch with my wife at a place, I believe maybe it was called Square One, and the Christmas song "Sleigh Ride" was playing. And I got it stuck in my head, and as I often do, I start singing wrong lyrics to songs for fun. And I started singing, "The girls are calling, yeah, the girls are calling, woohoo. Oh yeah, the girls are calling, the girls are calling, woohoo." And I posted it to Instagram stories, and I think it might have been that I'm at the ArcLight right now. That's, I think, trying to think what I was seeing. I can't remember. It was December of 2017, so I don't remember. That was over a year ago now at this recording. But I started doing this at December 24th, one day before the holiday known as Christmas, and I did it for a full year. And at this point, that was also on the roof of the ArcLight. And first of all, this is insane to watch right now, and I don't know what is going on, because the whole thing with Instagram stories is they only last 15 seconds. So as I start talking about one, by the time I get into it, it's already passed. So obviously I'm realizing I'm not going to go one by one. But these ones were shot December of 2017. And I believe at first I might have recorded more than one a day. I'm in an airplane. And if you believe it or not, that is, I think, a propeller airplane, and the flyer, the person flying it is Thomas Middleditch. He has his pilot's license, and it was fun, slightly scary to be in a. This, of course, is at the Broad. That's the Michael Jackson and Bubbles piece of art. So what is this? Oh, first of all, I'm going to say there might be a couple of sounds that you might hear while you're listening to this. I might be sipping a drink. I have two drinks in front of me. I have a coffee in a mug, a Jack Rebney mug from the Found Footage Festival, and I have a water. And then I also have some almonds, which, of course, become a storyline within The Girls Are Calling Woohoo. I made this song that I'm with GarageBand. So I might be eating almonds or Tate's Bake Shop whole wheat dark chocolate cookies. I like those, and I have diabetes, and the whole wheat and the dark chocolate keep me from going too nutty with the blood sugar. Oh yeah, that's the coffee. And maybe I will keep a running commentary of everything that I drink or eat. This one is the one that disturbs my wife the most. The Happy New Year one is very creepy. At this point, this is probably like maybe a weekend. Or yeah, if it was the 24th I started, this was probably the next week. And as you can see, I had already started to sort of stop just doing the straight up singing because I was already getting bored of it. So I was messing around. This one, I'm trimming my beard, and here I'm beardless. This is probably now the first week of January 2018. What a great year. 2018, so many memorable, great news events. The news is always good in 2018. So you'll notice here, coming up in the next week, worth of videos. This is a really interesting project because I can remember everything I did for a year because of these videos. So I'm actually flying in an airplane to shooting Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, which is filmed in Atlanta. I am a cast member of the show. This is Henry Zabrowski. You might know him. And look at me playing with the format here. Look at me playing with the format. Isn't that crazy? Isn't this fun? If you're listening to this, there are a couple of reasons you might be listening to this. Either you have followed The Girls Are Calling Woohoo, for a full year on my Instagram. You searched something on YouTube like the girls call. Girls call. Maybe you're because you want to hear a girl's phone call, and you stumble upon this, or maybe you're way in the future, or maybe not too distant future. This is a weird thing to say out loud. I've passed away, and some of my work is coming out, and people are just Googling my name, and this is one of the things that you find. Isn't that weird that this is the thing that you might find? That's just a weird thing to think about. Of course, this came out. This one is from the Fire and the Fury. That was huge in the news, and I was listening to on the audio tape, and I could not listen to the whole thing because it was so depressing to me. And in a few seconds, you'll be seeing one of my favorite comedians, Mr. Eddie Pepitone, and this is Johnny, one of the devils from Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. And being in Atlanta is always a fun time. Seeing all the friends and Dana Snyder from Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Squidbillies and Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, of course, did this one. And in Atlanta, the other thing that's interesting is when we're shooting this show, this one's frightening. Matt Servito. You might know him from Sopranos. He also had I haven't talked to him about this, but he had a part in Vox Lux, which was a great movie that came out this year. But when you're in Atlanta, you're staying in a hotel, where I was, and it gets a little bit stir crazy. So this song, not only was I recording 15 seconds of it, but you can imagine that I was probably ringing around in my head while being in a hotel room all by myself, all the way across the country from where I actually live in Los Angeles, California. That's a scary one with Seinfeld. Now that's, believe it or not, that's not me, and that's not Henry Zabrowski. Those are mock-up heads made by Shane Morton, who is the genius, one of the geniuses with Chris Brown behind all the makeup and effects on Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Back home in Los Angeles playing with my dog. That's the one that you can see I was just excited to be home. All right. So this one, another noise you might hear is my dog grumbling or barking, or my wife coming home and trying to be quiet because I'm recording a very important director's commentary in our home office. The last one was Starlee Kine, who you might know from, she's a writer for Search Party. She had the great podcast Mystery Show, and of course This American Life, and she was a very early proponent of The Girls Are Calling Woohoo. There are a lot of people. There's some people who supported this project. I would say millions. Like, look at this one. There are millions of people supporting this project here. That's, of course, at one of the marches, Women's March. And Starlee was very supportive of the project and was sort of a collaborator on this, I would run some ideas by her. This is my wife's corkboard. She puts up little sayings on there sometimes. Right now, I'm looking behind me at her pink letterboard, and it says "Know your worth." Know your worth, which is a nice thing to see every day. My worth. Oh, you can see my insulin pens in this one on the right, next to that Amazon, whatever it's called, Alexa, which we unplugged because it scared us, or it scared me. The government was watching. Know your worth. So obviously, this is this project is. I did this for a full year. I don't know why exactly. There's Tommy Middleditch riding on maybe Franklin in Los Angeles singing, and I started doing this for what reason? I don't know. I sort of have been on Instagram for probably 5 or 6 years. And I don't know when the stories came, but I wasn't really sure what to do with them or what they were. And this is, I also sort of find it hard to figure out, what do you share on social media? These are lofty things. You're going to be hearing a lot of philosophical things on this commentary. Of course, the Scientology building, where I spend most of my time. As I mentioned, the first one of these was shot near a Scientology building. Okay, this one. This one was where I was like fed up. I am done with this project. And it's still probably January. So I still did probably 10 or 11 months after this one. And you can tell, I'm sort of furious. This was a bench near me for that movie with Frances McDormand called, can't remember it. But spoiler alert, I'm about to say big spoiler for this movie, Woody Harrelson, you see here. It does not end well for Mr. Harrelson. And I think of it sort of a controversial film. I just sort of realized this one is sort of Kubrick-esque or Stephen King-esque. Because of course, the all work and no play make Jack a dull bay? No. Dull boy. Oh, that's right. I haven't fully, I'm not hearing everything, but this might be one of the first times that I sort of mess with the song itself. And this is a little section which put a little bit of life back into the project, where I'm doing theme songs. Of course, Quantum Leap, an influential show for me, obviously. I mean, can you tell the similarities between The Girls Are Calling Woohoo and Donald P. Bellisario's magnum opus, Quantum Leap? And this is, I love this movie, Steven Spielberg, but I can't. What? You know the one with, I almost said Kevin Bacon. With Kevin Bacon in it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not Catherine Bates. What's his name? He just played Dick Cheney. It sounds like Charles Bronson, Jason Bateman's dad. What if I spent the whole time trying to think of Christian Bale's name? Christian Bale. Of course, this is when I texted David Lee Roth. It ended up being David Lee Roth, and this looks pretty good on the screen. So this is also, I should say, David Lee Roth. Very nice to respond so quickly. This is the first time I've ever watched every single one of these in a row. And in fact, I don't know if the Guinness Book of World Records is going to listen to this, but this might be the first time that anybody has ever watched this whole thing together in a row without any... this one's a disturbing one. I don't like this one. I don't know why I did it, and I did. It was a little avant-garde, a little sexy. But if the Guinness Books of World Records is listening, I think this... I mean... Okay, here's the statement I'll make. Whatever this thing is that I did for a year is more of an accomplishment than some actual Guinness Book of World Records is. Like those two very heavy set twins riding the motorcycles, like, yes, that's impressive. Did it take as much work as this? I don't know. But so what I'm saying, I guess, is call your congressman or woman and advocate for this to get some sort of record, or I definitely deserve an award for this one. This one is definitely an award-winning. It's funny. I've been able to cross my eyes since I was a kid, and I don't think I ever really saw what it looks like, and it's quite disturbing. This one... All right, so I'm venturing out into the world. This one was shot by Mike Still out near the UCB Theater in LA. I believe I'd performed a show with the Tuesday Club. This one's disturbing. I don't know why. I mean, I haven't seen Valentine's Day, and I'm no offense to anyone involved with the film, but the photo has so many faces on it. I don't know why I chose Taylor Swift. I could have gone with Lautner. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Isn't that delightful? Frank looks really fat in this one. This is my dog Frank, who's also in the office with me. And I sort of stole that bit of hiding words in the thing, which became like a meme where people would hide like words in pictures. This is interesting. I think that if anyone's listening to this commentary, this is the part where I describe a meme and everybody loves it. That's Jerry Seinfeld of comedians in cars getting in comedians in cars getting cars, and that I believe is from his stand-up. For some reason, I watched the intro to his stand-up special, I'm Telling You for the Last Time, and it takes place at a funeral. And I think he's throwing out all of his jokes, and that eye roll. I never use this word, but I will dare I say was an epic eye roll. And if the Guinness Book of World Records is listening to this, they can also knock that off for Jerry Seinfeld, the most epic eye roll in the history of comedy specials, not in the history of the world, obviously. So here's the thing. This one I don't like. There's another one earlier that I don't like. I try to sort of stay away from Instagram filters. I don't know why. That was sort of a self-imposed thing that I broke, obviously. But that's also sort of a filter from an app, which I don't think I felt as much of a cheat. But for some reason, I didn't want to use what Instagram was giving me as much. So what were other self-imposed rules for this that sort of came through? So I started singing The Girls Are Calling Woohoo, and then at a certain point I stopped. I think I've been singing this whole time, but or there were a couple ones that were wordless with it written. But Darcy Carden of the Good Place, a big proponent of The Girls Are Calling Woohoo. But at some point I started speaking it, and then I sort of decided at very least it needed the words in it, just the words, and then abbreviations. I used GACWU for a while, which you'll obviously remember. I actually did get GACWU surgery, which you'll see later on. This is that was the Beastie Boys, and this is the Beatles, Girls, and then Girl, and but there was one or two times that I actually forgot to altogether. I got so wrapped up in other things. You know, there were a lot of things going on, people after me, there were kidnappings, and once or twice I forgot to actually say the words. And yeah, people DM me. There were a couple of people that DM'd me, and even if I didn't respond to you, because sometimes I feel weird responding to, I wouldn't even say that, oh, this is one of my favorites. I'll talk about this in a second, but criticism, I find it hard to, but I appreciate you keeping tabs on it and letting me know when I messed up. This, of course, is Tay Zonday. You may know him from Chocolate Rain, which was one of, I would say, an early breakthrough internet thing. Everybody probably knows what I'm talking about, I hope. But Tay Zonday was nice enough to do one for me. I'll say how I got that in a minute. But I found his so delightful. I think he's sitting in it looks sort of like a gamer chair. And his voice is incredible. And I sort of did like a full week of Tay. And this one is one of my favorite ones. Absolutely, 100%. This is the one with the scrolling old TV. I made that in Final Cut Pro. I used to be an editor, and this is with some effects and some grabbing some old footage. This is, I think, perhaps my favorite one for some reason. This is Daddy Cool by, I want to say his name is Daddy Cool by Boney M. Am I saying that wrong? Look up the song Daddy Cool. And if you're not enjoying that, this one I realized afterwards is sort of an homage to Gil Ozeri's Instagram, or it's not Instagram, what's it called? Snapchat videos. And that, I do think that I actually told Gil that was sort of an inspiration. This was, these ones I feel sort of remind me of those. But Gil's Snapchats were so awesome. And I felt like one of the reasons I made this is Dustin Diamond. I'll just let this one speak for itself. But Gil's was sort of like, I one of the things I didn't like about the Instagram and stuff is like people, I don't know. People weren't doing some people do very cool stuff, fun stuff. Some people just share family photos and stuff, and that's cool. But I just want to try something different, and this is what ended up happening. But Tay Zonde, I had met a couple times through working with Robert Smigel, and we wrote like years and years and years ago. I helped write a song for Night of Too Many Stars, a show that Robert Smigel puts together with Jon Stewart, and Tay Zonde was used in the song sung by Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell called "Everyone's Talking About Sully," and Tay sang a bar of Chocolate Rain in it. The song was sort of about things, what was in the zeitgeist, but they took so long for them to write the song that it came out a couple years later. So Chocolate Rain was in it, and I don't know if I explained that well, and then he did a bit on the Jack and Triumph show, which I wrote for, and I called in a huge favor from Robert Smigel and got his information, and that was very nice of both of them to do that. This is a great run. Eating an almond. This is one of my favorites. These are sort of where, obviously, singing this song over and over is sort of mind, I would say, numbing. And these are me. I was able to. I incorporated some films to sort of express that feeling. So of course this is Scanners. Let's watch this go. Damn, what a cool movie. And you saw Indiana Jones, and this is When Harry Met Sally. Classic scene. I hope this doesn't get taken off YouTube because of these. I use these elements from this, but if it does, I'm fighting it. This of course is from Belly. Now Belly is a movie directed by Hype Williams, based literally, I don't know if, I'm sure he gets a writing credit, but based on a song from Nas. There's some lyrics in one song, and that scene, there's a scene that's directly based on lyrics from Nas. Great film. I mean, the visuals in Belly are unbelievable. If you remember Hype Williams in the 90s, he made so many ridiculous looking, I mean, God, the Busta Rhymes videos that he did were amazing. And then he directed a whole film, and it just, we in college, of course this is Battlefield Earth, but in college, Belly was constantly on in me and my friends' dorm rooms. Of course, here's Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, Smigel, Robert Smigel's, and I believe his dog's name is Snoopy, so I think that's Triumph and Snoopy sort of humping. Oh yeah. Boom. What was the story with this? Is this a real, did Ben Affleck actually get this tattoo? I think that's what it was, and I'm just going to say this, Guinness Book. This is the third record. This is the third record that we're talking about. This is at Earwolf. I think we're recording Improv for Humans. But if you oh, come on, Oscar Waxman, delightful young child, and that's my friend Alex, who's a friend from college, whose son was very inspired by my song. And of course, the Terrace House is mentioned many times, but in 2018, my wife Meryl and I got very into Terrace House. This is a great scene when they're talking Menorah. Oh my gosh, this is Girls and Boys in the City. Of course, since then, I've watched Opening New Doors. Wow, there's so much. I can't even keep track of what I was just talking about. This is moving so quickly. Belly, Waxman. Oh my, that one's a good one. This one is also at the Broad. I forget the name of the artist, but this is that's me and my wife inside of. I'm sorry, I don't know if I was allowed to film in there. I might have broken a rule. if I started a sentence and didn't finish it, or talked about a subject, and started and got cut off because I was distracted by how ADD this whole thing is, please write me and complain. I will love it. And actually I will, because I'll know you listen this far, which is great. Wearing some Mets gear. Maybe the baseball season started. This might have been either I went to a Mets game or the season had just started. I was watching all my Mets gear. This is also, there was a couple times where I thought maybe this was taking a lot of time, and I was like, maybe this would be quicker. And then I edit this whole thing in Final Cut Pro, and I bring in all the audio, and I have to make the colors I like. And by the time I'm done, I've spent half an hour on one of these. I really do wonder how much time I spent on this. It's insane that, so the great fart noise there. It's insane to think that this equals an hour and a half of footage, which is, to me, growing up, I don't know if this is a 90s thing, but comedies in the 80s and 90s feel like by law. Sorry, I'm finishing my almonds, about to take a sip of coffee. That shirt's a Beavis and Butthead shirt by Illustrated Mind. I like that website. Abby Jacobson of Broad City fame. Oh yeah, movies from the 80s and 90s were all like 90 minutes, comedies that is. And I feel like since then, listen, I'm sure there are great comedies that are over 90 minutes, but there's something. This is maybe the first sponsored one. Since then, this is when I was running a lot, but then I moved on to biking instead for exercise, because sometimes running hurts my back. But 90 minutes just feels right for a comedy. I don't know. And this project, obviously I did not plan this to be 90 minutes, but if you multiply 15 seconds by 365, it's about an hour and a half. Another sponsor. There's sort of phases within this whole thing. And this started sort of I don't know if I can pinpoint it, but maybe that Brooks Shoes one, when I got the sponsorship, there's much more talking now, and I feel like, I'm just gonna look. I shouldn't do this because it's daunting. Wow, 27 minutes. This is really watchable. But I think I also might have messed something up by touching this. So if the timing is wrong, but so this is probably if it's a half an hour in, this is a third of the year in, and I sort of get this acapella group rocking it. College acapella groups, college acapella groups, college acapella groups. Maybe that's my song for next year. But yeah, definitely phases, because a third of the year in, I'm just going to keep singing Girls Are Calling Woohoo? That's not practical. So I mix it up. This is, of course, the hearings with Mark Schmuckerberg, J.K. Zuckerberg. I'm using his platform. I used Instagram to do this. So thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for creating the perfect social media things. There haven't been any issues that have come from them existing, and the world is definitely a better place because of them. Am I being sarcastic? That's for me to know and you to find out. I like that pin. I am farting right now. I think that's still up there. But of course, that's what it is. Oh man, I could just talk about The Quiet Place for an hour, but I won't. But if you've seen it, then I can tell you I've also seen it. That's what I'll say about it. This was it was very nice. For my birthday, my wife had my parents send out my bass guitar. My birthday was probably a month or so before this. I don't know. My bass guitar for my birthday, and I was taking lessons probably at this point. I since haven't. I've been a little busy, but I'd like to get back to it. And this is where I toy with the idea of it being over, because I probably wish it was over. I've noticed also in this sort of one side effect of this project is it definitely in real time showed me how long my hair was getting. Oh, this is when CNN supported the project. So there's sometimes where I'm watching this back, I'm like, wow, I let my hair go really long. And I think since this project, I've sort of gotten haircuts a little bit quicker. So if nothing else comes out of this, if this doesn't get like sold to a major movie studio, then I will say that I honestly, one of the things that greatest parts of this whole project was that I get haircuts a little bit earlier than I don't wait for it to grow all the way out. Neo before John Wick. See, look at how long that hair is. It's like where it gets a little bit gross, and it looks a little bit like what's going on. What's going on? Sorry, coughing. Whenever I sing Marvin Gaye, I start coughing because it's great. This is Record Store Day. I went there. I don't think I'll ever do Record Store Day again. In New York, when I used to live in New York, I would sort of stroll to some local record stores, and I mean there were a lot of people there, but at Amoeba it's overkill. You have to wait in line, you sign a sheet, you don't even really go into the store to look at the records. They just sort of like get them for like you like do a checklist of the ones you might want, and then they get you the ones that are just like left. See, in the first half of the year I was wearing that necklace. That's a medical emergency necklace that maybe I should still wear it, but I am a type 1 diabetic. I am. But I no longer wear the emergency medical necklace. So this one I thought would be really great. I was like, oh, I can get like 10 days out of spelling it out one day at a time. And I put some fart noises, and look, this is the T, and the next day is the H. I was like, this will save me a week of doing it every day. But this took, for some reason, it took so long, and not worth it. So I think this might be the longest sort of span where I don't actually spell out the whole thing. So dare I say failure? Who cares? I mean, I do, but I don't know what I was searching on Amazon, but come on. MILF, man, I love to fart. I don't know what I could have been searching for, but that is, and look at how it's like over the shoulder, like trying to be sexy. That is unbelievable. So this is sort of me getting really political. This one's me getting really political. Yeah, we're talking about the First Amendment. This, obviously that's a big factor in this whole thing. This is one of the foundations of the Girls Are Calling Woohoo is the First Amendment. And if nothing else, I'm going to say if nothing else a lot, but if nothing else, this is the most important First Amendment piece of whatever this is that's ever existed. I believe this is a saloon. This is a bar. I think I might have been at a birthday party for my friend Henry, who was in this. So you can really, I wonder if it's how apparent it is to other people when I'm like, I don't have any idea. Like that one, I clearly didn't have any idea. Here's a big change. Guess where this is? I know where this is. I'll let you say it out loud while I take a sip. If you said Chicago, you're right. I'm in Chicago. This is me outside of a mattress place in Chicago. I was there for a wedding. And then Meryl and I stuck around to see some friends, and obviously there I'm dressed for the wedding, and we stuck around and we saw a game. We saw a Cubs game. I'd never been to Wrigley Field. I sort of wish I had gone before they built it up around it a little bit, but I'll say this. First of all, there are only so many old stadiums left, but Wrigley Field might be my favorite. I went to Fenway later in the year. I've been to Fenway as a kid. I've been to. I mean, of course, grew up going to Shea. I think Dodger Stadium is one of the oldest ones. That's my friend Adam, one of the oldest ones. But Wrigley's got this feel where you just feel like you're on top of the state. Like you're, and also they were cranking HRs, cranking home runs. So I was enjoying that, cranking those HRs. HRs is home run. Oh boy. I didn't film during the concert because I don't think you were even allowed to, and I wouldn't have. But Weird Al on his his tour where he only sang original songs. Weird Al was my first concert ever, and I've seen him 3 times, and twice with my wife Meryl, and for this one, which was no parodies, all original comedy songs. And my wife Meryl turned to me at the end and she goes, Weird Al is really good. And I was like, yeah, what do you think? I'm just, I grew up on this guy. Of course, he's not only is he, I get people put him down sometimes, but he's great. He's hilarious, and he's stood the test of time. It's not just that he's changing words around his songs. He's doing it, and he's still rocking it. I don't know why I like this one, but I do. That's a Moomin cup, but this is me teaching back a long time ago. My friend Nomi taught me this trick about tea. It didn't work there, but you sort of wrap the tea bag around it, and you squeeze it, and you drain all the water, so you get every inch. I love that whistle one. This is a good one. Every little bit of the tea out. That's a really good thing. This is sort of a cooking thing. Let's see, what was I making there? This isn't a common thing that I've made, but it looks like some sort of chicken dish of some sort. And I don't know what that rub is. That's the rub. What's the rub? Is that might be a Shakespeare thing. I don't know. This one seems disturbing. This is like a Lifetime movie about Harriet Winslow and Meghan Markle. Meghan and Harriet when they got married, and it was okay. I like that one because of the delayed start, but Mike Cohen, okay, interesting. Didn't even notice that. Hello, indictments. So this was interesting. This was when I started. This was LASM. What more can I say? This is me just promoting LASM for 2018. It's a great year for 2018. That's from part of the mallow family of flower. Dunbury. And, I feel like that had to be shared. Went to a lot of good concerts this year. I didn't put all of them in the thing, but come on. What, I'm not going to see... What? You think I'm not going to see Paul Simon on his farewell tour? Is it really going to be his last tour? Let's be honest. I don't believe it will be. Here's another thing I'll say about Paul Simon. I can't remember his brother's name. I believe it's Eddie Simon. Google Eddie Simon now. Google Eddie Simon or Paul Simon's brother, and what you will see is someone that looks like a slightly weird version of Paul Simon. And this is Lake Biscayne. This is the start of the lake. Lake Biscayne. Eddie Simon, just an interesting fella. And I was watching a documentary about girls are calling. I was watching a documentary about girls are calling. I was watching a documentary about Bridge Over Troubled Water, and they showed a shot of who I thought was Paul Simon. And I was like, that looks like a weird Paul Simon. And it was Eddie Simon. So this is when I was spending some time in Lake Biscayne. Obviously, we know that had a weird ending. But this was a fun little jaunt. That hat looks dope. This one's sort of weird because it was in a mirror, so I look I don't know if I should say what this really is or not, because it's the Lake Biscayne thing, but it was some festival or something. And that was a vehicle. And oh my God, this band. Woke up this morning, my world had been shifted. So I was at this thing with Meryl and our friend Elliot Glazer, and that band was playing, and I'm sure they're great. Well, I don't know, but the lyrics of the song were, "When I woke up this morning, my world had been shifted." Definitely had that in my head for a week or two. Probably Push Out Girls Are Calling Woohoo a little bit, but it seemed like it was about divorce or something. Like, I woke up this morning, my wife was gone. I woke up this morning, my kids were gone. My world had been shifted. Definitely want to get that. Maybe Google those lyrics and we should try to find out. Oh man, I'm doing a screening of this. By the time this goes up, the screening will have already passed. But imagine if I got that band at the screening to sing "I woke up this morning and my world had been shifted." Now that's premium content. All right, let me just listen to see what's going on here. Okay, this is when I was getting sued by Donna. All right, here's the deal with this. This was a contentious period in my life. No, I don't know what sort of prompted this one. It's weird because right as I'm recording this, the Fire Festival, 2 documentaries have come out about it, Hulu and Netflix. I don't feel like this was, that wasn't in the era when this came around. I think this was this was when storylines sort of started coming up. My favorite one, I believe, maybe was in June or July, but this is when things got a little ambitious. And I don't want to mess up the screen. Okay, so this is 41 minutes in, so this is about halfway through the year. And as you can imagine, doing something like this, which again nobody asked to do, there's no reason I did this, but it started to get really sort of, I would say, great Yola Tango show at the Terragram. There's really great. And it got really, I wouldn't say boring, but just like, what am I doing? Like, this is tedious to be doing this every day. So it's sort of to keep my interest in it, I would have to create sort of these little storylines. And, so basically, after I started singing The Girls Are Calling Woohoo, I started posting them. I probably should have said this up top. But I decided, I did it for a couple days, and I got some DMs. People slid into my DMs. People were sort of enjoying the stupidity of it. And I sort of made this conscious decision. I'm going to do this for 1 full year. Why? Maybe just the challenge. Maybe not. But, maybe not. But, at a certain point, it's like, what is this anymore? So you got to keep things going. You got to change things up. I'm going to just listen for a second, see where we're at in the year. Oh, this one, I'm just silent for some of it. I think that was for a red carpet thing that I was passing by, and I do believe Meryl got a direct message from a friend going, "Is Craig okay?" And that's when, I think I was, but this whole thing is it okay to do this? I don't know. I guess it is, but this is, but that one did seem, looking at it, my eyes seem, I don't know. What was going on in my head as that happened? I think it was all right. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is when I believe Grant Cohen passed away. That was a sad. So a lot of this one, some great names in this one. Jacoby Lintler is coming up, I believe. Graham Cohen, Donna. We'll hear some more. I like seeing those records. I had some records, and none of those are record day records. Oh, look at that hair. Eden and Almond. Look at that hair. Not good. Real bad. I hope in the next day I either have a haircut or a hat. Oh, this. Oh, yeah, this is Lintler. This is when the shit goes down, girl. I need a haircut here.
So I booked the tickets to the Verve Festival. I am really hoping.
Okay, so this is when I'm going to the Verve Festival. What is that? What? I don't remember what this is. Hold on. This is the Verve. Oh, okay. I honestly don't know where I am or what this is. Okay, I know what this is. This is the Verve Festival. That's what it is. So this was a music festival, of course, and here I am at it. I don't know where that hat went, but this was actually, I'll just say what this actually was. Who cares? I went to a music festival called the Arroyo Seco, and Neil Young played at the end. And it was okay. I don't like music festivals. I'm sorry. I've only gone to 2 or 3 in my life. One was called Field Day Fest. That was when I was in college. I went to another one last year, the Adult Swim Festival that had some great music acts and was actually smaller, so it wasn't as insane and with people. Oh, I love the cursing, the blurring, the cursing. Like, why? Who would want those blurred? Like, well, what are these blurred for? I think this. I'm gonna say it. This is halfway through the year. This is the best stuff. This is like my favorite storyline. But music festivals, just too many people. It's just sort of gross. You're just tired by the end of the day. When just go towards the end is what I would say if you're going to a music festival. Just go towards the end. I'm not an expert at music festivals, but just like, come on, just see one band. But hair out of control. That's great. Meryl is cursing in the background. Meryl, a collaborator. This one may be another favorite. Because look at that angle. And I feel like I got some messages like, is this real? And it's like, what do you think? You think I'm just yelling at my wife, my home with a phone, filming it? Like, yes, that was 100% real. This is great. Meryl, I would not say a professional actor, but a great actor. And I know she had that's her office setup. She's an illustrator. And her history of acting, she did high school or community acting. Community plays when she was great. I've seen videos. She was in Guys and Dolls. She played Nicely Johnson. Is that his name? And I believe she wanted to be an actress when she was younger and was in a commercial for the Rugrats movie. But guess what? They cut her. So you know what? First of all, that's just the business. Second of all, come on, guys. You don't see talent when you see it. You don't see it when you see it. I mean, you're breaking just little kids' dreams. Just keep the girl in the ad for the Rugrats movie. Ah, jeez. Oh, this was when Meryl's son Simon was kidnapped. Love Simon. Love Meryl's son. That's the illustration by him. Look at this acting. This is good. It's a Simon Hanselman pen drawing on the left that I got. Big fan of Simon Hanselman. I think I was wearing a Simon Hanselman Megan Mogg shirt earlier. So this is when I'm hiding in Jacoby Lintler's house. This was in, I believe, probably the summer. I think we might have had even some family staying in our apartment, and I would film these, and it is very weird looking at this and thinking I filmed this. I basically filmed part of, for at least this one feels more storyline oriented, like a mini movie, like hiding in my bathroom while family was there. And then this one is, of course, terrifying. I think probably got a message from my mom saying that was disturbing. And here's what I'll say. If you're ever going to do, if there are other people who film their own Girls Are Calling Woohoo movies, which I highly recommend, you definitely want to be sitting on the floor of your bathroom for half an hour in the dead of summer, super hot and sweaty. Also, if you're going to do this, make sure your wife is an A+ actress. She's rocking it. Meryl. Oh, she's not here. I thought she was. I was going to have her say something into the microphone. Maybe. I don't know if she'll be into it. Oh, I think you might have been able to. So these are, of course, RX bars. I don't know if I should or shouldn't say. I wasn't actually sponsored by RX bars, but I'll say this. I was introduced to those in the writer's room for Search Party, and Jordan Firstman was the one who said that the chocolate and sea salt one was the best flavor, and I disagree. That's my favorite flavor, the one that Meryl is holding. That's I believe it's berries and peanut butter or something flavored. But I mean, come on, if you're in a writer's room with so that's where I think I got that whole thing, was this. Some of this was shot while writing for that, and all of the people in the room very supportive of the project. Was there? Yeah, I don't know. Someone may have suggested the idea of having those words somewhere in the season. I don't think that happened. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But look at this hair. What is going on? That is so... you know what it is? How many times a week do you shower? And also, I'm wearing my old glasses. You probably hear my dog whining. Frankie, stop whining. But I'm just going to say this out loud. I don't know where this is going to land in terms of what people think. But, I only shampoo now once a week. Is that insane? I don't need to shampoo. I don't feel the need to shampoo every day. And I like the texture of the hair. But sometimes if I do a bad job sort of combing it, and I only use my hands. Oh, Frank's on my lap right now, and there he's right there. These ones I'll say are a little bit of this. So I had some friends over, and they had the new iPhone, and we played around with it. But it is, I will say, a little bit of a cop out to use these. But listen, when you have a year, you're gonna anything to get you through the night. Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right. It's all right. John Lennon, R.I.P. Rip it. But what I was saying, haircuts, yeah. If I didn't do a good job in the morning of sort of combing my hair after I showered, then it gets a little bit unruly. That's, of course, hashtag Call of Duty, hashtag Duty Swirl, hashtag Duty is a cutie. I think that might have been an actual hashtag that I found. So this one, again, I'm obviously very much hit a wall in terms of the Girls Are Calling Woohoo. I also, by the way, I'm just going to say this out loud. I hope this is actually recording. What if I recorded this whole thing and it didn't happen? But that was an article about Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's whatever brand. And that photo was just very funny to me, and I didn't know what else to do, so I did that. Let's see what this is. What am I doing here? So this is me just basically reading things from TV Guide or whatever listings. TV Guide it probably does exist, but again, I fully hit a wall. So let's see when I really get re-energized. This actually was at whatever that show is called, the roast battle. I'm going to say this about roast battle. I don't know. I understand the roast battle. It's a fun idea. There I am biking. Look at that armpit hair. But one of the roast battle guys who was doing the roast battle, had the jokes written on his arm, like on one of those like things that QBs wear on their arms to write down plays. And I was like, isn't like that's, I mean, like, yes, whatever, who cares what the rule, but like, it just seemed like, don't bring the jokes, none of the other stand-up stand-up is hard. I've never really truly done it, but why do you need the jokes on your arm? Awful hair. Oh, this is me talking about Terrace House. Terrace House, if you have not watched, is a Japanese reality show that is available on Netflix. I wish all seasons were available on Netflix, but I know the last couple were. I highly recommend watching this season's called Boys and Girls in the City, and then Opening New Doors. We just didn't get as into Aloha State because it was in Hawaii. It was more of a one of the greatest parts about Terrace House is it's basically 3 guys and 3 girls in a house, and sort of trying to find love or live life. This is when I was pitching The Girls Are Calling Woo as a show. It ended up being an app. Did not work out, but you'll see. But and then they're commentators, and the Japanese. I believe they're probably members of pop culture, comedians, and all that, but they're so funny. The show is great. The drama is just so more low key and simmering on the surface than it's a more. I feel like I would say is maybe a more formal society, and the drama that comes out of it is great. This is when I'll just say that weirdly is the house of the guy who created Dallas. I'll just leave it at that, and you'll be like, what? Why? This one was shot by Jake Fogelness backstage before an ASCAT at UCB Sunset, and he had a 3D camera. I believe he was... I'm talking so much. I think he was shooting a music video using 3D cameras or something, and he was trying it out, and that haircut looks better. That's a book that my uncle Alex gave me when I graduated college. He gave me a lot of good books about comedy writing. My favorite one, some of them are, actually before, like they're real. It was really nice for them to get them for me. I feel like right after I graduated, a bunch of really good comedy books came out, like Mike Sachs' book, and Here's the Kicker, and Poking a Dead Frog. But one of the ones that my uncle gave me is called How to Be Funny by John Max. And it's such a weird thing because it's not how to be in comedy. It's how to be funny in regular life. And one of the things he says in it is like just mishear. Actually, what? John Max literally says mishear things and it's funny. And I just realized that's what this whole Girls Are Calling Adam Lustig in the house. I'm trying to grab the book. How to Be Funny by John Max to reference what he says, because I'm realizing there's actually a weird connection here. So I'm going to try to flip through the book and find the part that I'm talking about where he mistakes the word yoga for yogurt, or the other way around. It is so weird. Meryl, do you want to say something on here since you're part of it? So we've already passed the Jacoby Lintler stuff, but I gave a little background about your acting, that you were Nicely Johnson, and that you were in that Rugrats ad. And I was just saying how great an actress you were.
Yeah, I was cut out of the Rugrats commercial.
But was there something with the dinosaur?
Reptar.
But so can you explain what your thing was and maybe why you think either you were cut out or what your, looking back, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I remember I was in like seventh grade, and yeah, I went on this audition, and I booked this Rugrats commercial.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was cool. And I like excitedly told people I went to school with. I'm getting ahead of myself actually. So I remember the day of the shoot. Well, let me backtrack. I remember. I feel like I'm really building up this stupid moment in my life. Yeah, I remember I had to go in for like a costume fitting, and they were dressing everyone way like to look kind of like they were in I mean, I still look really young, but I feel like I like have always looked 10 years younger than I am. So they dressed me kind of like a fourth grader. Like I remember they put me in like yellow overalls, pastel overalls with a striped short sleeve t-shirt and put my hair in pigtails. And the day of the shoot, I remember there was a snowstorm, and I remember my parents fighting about. They both agreed that they didn't want to, that I couldn't do it because they didn't want to drive in a snowstorm to New Jersey to some like elementary school where they were shooting in New Jersey. I think it was like Montclair, New Jersey, I want to say. But maybe that's the only place I know in New Jersey or something. But I remember crying and like begging them. That's so sad. I'm really making myself a victim here. And then we finally did it. We got there, and then I sat around all day, and they didn't even like shoot a scene with me. And I remember being so embarrassed. Yeah. Well, what happened is because my dad, we were waiting around all day, and then my dad went up to the director and like had like I think he like had like an angry freak out because he was just pissed that they like drove through a snowstorm and we were there all day. And so then they threw me into a scene where I didn't even have a line, but they had me like kind of as like one of the featured. This is not interesting. Why am I talking about this? Running. Anyway, I was in this stupid thing, and I was supposed to get eaten by Reptar, and then I got cut out of this commercial at the end.
Wait, okay, so hold on one second, because I'm going to ask you another question. Yeah, because you acted in here. But this is another great thing. This is when I had the Gaku surgery. And just a quick aside, that chin video, Rory Panagotopoulos and my friend Ben Johnson from college, Rory and I used to do comedy together. Ben, all three of us were in an improv group in college called The Scuds. And Rory helped make the chin thing. And we used to do comedy together, and that was like a nice little collaboration. So a quick question for you before I read some Johnny Mac stuff. But a quick brief overall, Girls Are Calling Woohoo, worth it? Or what's your final takeaway from this whole stupid thing that happened? Because you experienced it with me for the whole year.
I'm relieved it's over, but I'm glad it happened with a question mark. Or how about it happened? Question mark. I got it. I'm glad it's over. Period. It happened? Question mark.
That's great. That could be the quote on the back of the thing. All right. So this is going back to Johnny Mac. So this is another great storyline. If you're a completist and you're upset I didn't talk about the Gaku surgery and CIA agent Leonard Bleem, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. But this is advice from John Max on page 92 of How to Be Funny. Reactive humor. You want to use this when you are... actually, this is insane. Reactive humor. Wait, who's John Max? I'll just tell you. John Max, author of Heaven Talks Back, From Soup to Nuts, and Forget About It, is a writer for The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He has written for 7 Academy Award shows, 9 Emmy Award shows, and has a weekly comedy segment on the Paul Harris radio show. In addition, he writes for Hollywood Squares. So this is his advice for being funny in real life, in regular life. Reactive humor. You want to use this when you are winning the argument. At this point, you are finding a key word, making a joke, and letting your opponent focus on that as his graceful way out. One effective way to do that is to deliberately misunderstand something he said. Girls Are Calling Woohoo. Maybe there's a connection there. Example. So he says this. Example. This actually happened with my wife and me. For once, she was actually losing an argument with me, so she tried to change the subject. Then he shows the interaction. She... So this is her saying it, and then when I say he, it's him talking. She, calm down. I need to get you a yoga instructor. He. So this is what he says. So she says, I need to get you a yogurt instructor. He, yogurt? Why do I need a yogurt instructor? Look, I didn't go to public schools. I know how to eat yogurt. You shake up the container, open the top, and then eat. Open the top first, and then shake it, and you have a mess. Hire the yogurt instructor for someone else. That's awesome. That is so great. That is, I no joke, think about that all the time. It is such an insane book. And for any aspiring people who want to just be funny in life, I'm not talking about aspiring comedy, writers or actors. I'm talking about if you want to be funny in life and you're aspiring to that, get How to Be Funny by Johnny Max. That beep. I think your phone's in here.
Sorry.
You ruined it. You ruined it. All right. So this is another storyline. This is oh my God, this one is crazy. Nevin Hildehern. I mean, look at what happened. This was not planned. My dog, is that allowed to be shown? Well, you can't even see the poop, but it's my dog pooping. I totally 100% did not plan that. Did I enjoy it? And did I put it up there? I did. So, I'm obviously, even though I didn't plan it, I am a guilty party in making that something that people would see. So where are we? So what was I talking about? John Max. This is so insane to be doing this by myself, this commentary. I don't know what to talk about. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. What do you think? So this is about Nevin Hildehern, who is a big fan of the project, and it ended up being a troll. But this is me walking over the Shakespeare Bridge in Los Feliz, maybe into the Franklin Hills or Silver Lake. I don't know what people call what parts, but that's a walk I do a lot. Here, let me just talk about my morning thing. This is me in the airport. I walk sometimes 2 to 3 miles a day in the morning. Sometimes I'll usually walk with my dog if it's raining and he does not want to go around the block. Even more than around the block, I'll walk by myself. But I either walk 2 or 3 miles a day. Sometimes I'll bike 5 to 6 miles in the morning. I like to get that exercise in the morning. So this is actually... Should I just tell the secrets of what actually this is? I visited the set of... this is on the set of a show that I worked on. I don't know if I should give away like things for the show. So, but and this is when the Hildeherns put me on an airplane, and this is the hair is fairly normal here. The hair is fairly normal. This is when I was, I think, this was also, so this is backstage. I was doing Ask Cat in New York at UCB Hills Kitchen, but I had never done city bike when I was living in New York, and then I did it there, and I was very sweaty because I biked from, I don't know if I biked from Brooklyn to Manhattan, but I biked. Oh, you know what I saw? Okay, I've got a very funny story about seeing. So I met some friends for brunch, and then was doing the show after, and then in between it, I had the perfect amount of time to see a movie. What movie did I see? I like this story. I went to see the new Predator movie. I believe it was called Predators. Of course, it was playing in 4DX. If you don't know what that is, 4DX means four-dimensional extreme or whatever. I don't know what they say it's called. But they spray water at you. The seat moves. It wobbles. It's insane. It's not a fun movie-going experience, but it's insane. Like, you are moving the whole time. The steam is getting shot in your face. So it's the movie Predators. And right before the movie starts, this elderly woman comes in, probably like 80 to 85, and she's sort of like making her way up the stairs to get to the seat that's like, I wouldn't say, maybe stadium seating or whatever. And she sits down next to me, and I'm like, yes, badass. Like, an 85-year-old woman is seeing Predators? Like, okay, this is great. I like this. Excited to sit next to this woman to see Predators. She sits down next to me. And the first opening scene to Predators, which I assume everyone has seen, is a spaceship crashing to the Earth with predators in it. And the seats are like, you're tilting all over. Spray is being poured in your face. Water is falling. You're getting like electrocuted. And this is going on for like 3 minutes. And she turns to me and she goes, "Excuse me." I'm sorry, but I'll just use that voice because it's funny. "Excuse me. What movie is this?" I'm like, it's Predators. And she goes, "Oh, I thought this was Crazy Rich Asians." And then she left, got out of the seat, and left the theater. And it was like, just like amazing. It was just great. And I hope she enjoyed that film. And I wonder if Crazy Rich Asians was in 4DX. I'm going to assume it wasn't. This is the wellness retreat, so I had just been trolled by the Hildeherns. This, of course, is the wellness retreat. I'll be honest. Moving to LA, the stereotype is, the healthy, the avocado toast and all that stuff. I'm all in. I don't care. I don't do juice cleanses and all that stuff, but 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with diabetes type 1. Is health a big part of my life now? Yes. Do I, think about what I'm eating, what I'm putting into my body? Yeah, I already said I got the almonds next to me, which obviously is a storyline coming up, but that's the type of snack I have when I eat bad foods or whatever. That's a very conscious decision. I have to, because my blood glucose levels go all over the place. Oh, I remember doing this one. It was like about smelling air, and I got some messages. People did not like this one. And sometimes I responded to the criticisms, and sometimes I didn't. Okay, this was, of course, about The Star Is Born. A Star Is Born. I think this was was this when it actually, I feel like I actually did see it opening weekend, but I feel like this was like months actually before it came out. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I'm in the shallow, I don't feel so good. I'm in the shallow, I don't feel so good. That's my rendition of The Shallow. Am I going to predict it right now? Okay, so I'm recording this in January 2019. The Academy Awards won't be until February 2019. I'm going to say here first, Lady Gaga might win an Academy Award for Best Song. She might, and Bradley Cooper. They might do it. I'm going to say that right here, 100% confidently, they might win it. I'm in the shallow, I don't feel so good. All right, so this, of course, this is at the Adult Swim Festival. That's Dan Deacon. I love Dan Deacon. I hope he doesn't mind that I put up this clip. Such a great musician. I can't really hear it right now, so I don't know what song that was. It might be from Glissriffer. Is that the name of the album? If you're not a fan of Dan, this DeLorean was parked right down my block. I'm not going to say where this is. Meryl texted me once when I was out of town and said there's a DeLorean parked right outside my block. I was like, what? She took a picture, and then I saw it, and and that's why I forgot to say Girls Are Calling Woohoo there. I was literally driving to work, and I saw it, and I stopped the car to get out and film in front of the DeLorean, and I just forgot to say the Girls Are Calling Woohoo. Someone called me out. I wish I could give them credit. I don't know their name. I feel really bad. It's a follower. If you know who you are, thank you. You inspired this storyline for me to rewrite the whole show. So I forgot because that DeLorean. And I'm probably... that was Jessica Williamson, and this is Emily Heller. And I don't know if the show was announced that we were all working on, so I'm not going to say... this industry is so stupid. Why can't I say it? I don't know. But we all worked on a show together, and this was in their offices, and I recorded this show. Emily, of course, is a great stand-up comic. If you have not heard her album Pasta, I believe it's available anywhere to get. We had worked together about 2.5 years before this, I think, too, on the Independent Film Spirit Awards, hosted by Kumail Nanjiani and Kate McKinnon. And Emily was always so nice, and it was so nice of her to do this stupid bit. And this was filmed during lunch. This was not while I was. I'm not an asshole. This one was I'll say it, that's Meryl's guitar, but I felt confident using it because I got it for her as a gift. In the background you can see that's the daily news story that's up in my office. That's from when I did the Please Give Me $1 Million show, which some of you might know. And then that's one of my favorite Onion articles. I wrote the headline, and I'm looking at it now so I can tell you what it says. It says, Sliders ended oh my God, I messed up. Sliders ended 2 seasons too early, if you ask me. says Sliders creator to no one in particular. So that was the headline I pitched. And then I believe Seth Reese might have written the article. I'm confident he did, and it's very funny. He did an amazing job writing it. And all these Gibson stuff, the nice people at Gibson. If you know who you are, thank you. I appreciate all the Gibson stuff to the Gibson crew. Hair's getting a little long here, but I'm okay with it. Why do I see that? Look at that. I've got 2 keyboards. I got a new Mac computer. The keyboard it came with sort of didn't work, but I had an old keyboard. Should I have brought back the one that I got that didn't really work? It did. It just had a wobble in it. I never wear my hat sideways like that. I hope people realize that that's not how I actually wear. But I should have. But I had another keyboard, so I just used that one. Am I a snowflake because of that, or whatever? Am I a beta because I didn't return that keyboard? I don't know. Just get over it. This is me biking, I believe, by the LA River. I sometimes go biking by the LA River, and then there's this a place called Spoke Cafe where sometimes I'll get breakfast or coffee. Of course, Max Silvestri, also working on the project, and Max, very funny stand-up and nice all-around man. That it's funny, we both did before. Like, we worked together, but I don't know if we'd ever worked together. But we went back in New York like 10 years ago. We both were doing Best Night Ever in New York, which was a video podcast done by VH1 where you talk about like the night before's television. One of my first paid comedy jobs, and one of my favorites, Josh Slay and Corey Cavan were the guys who sort of shot and edited it, and good friends. And this was when, of course, we were stuck in this room. They were trying to get us out of there for wasn't being allowed to shoot. And anyway, so Max did that as well. And this, I feel like, was the most time we got to know each other more. And yeah, he was nice enough to be a guest on Girls Are Calling Woohoo show. And that logo, look at how bad that logo is. And that knocking, those are really good. That sounds like real knocking, doesn't it? This is one, I guess, is a shout out to all my Girls Are Calling Woohoo heads. What am I talking about? Things are up in the air. That's what I'm saying. Things are up in the air. Biking, again, this looks like I'm not at the, what am I talking about here? Let's see. I'm saying 18 different ways to lose weight. So I already sort of had done like the health thing. So they're only 15. This is like 8, 10 months in, 11 months in, something like that. I'm like almost out of it. This is probably October, sort of out of idea. I mean, I already done the health kick thing, but here I'm talking about the almonds. I do eat a lot of almonds, and also maybe this is somewhat. I was eating almonds recently, and like I grabbed a handful, and they were like, "That's the Barack Obama snack," because the New York Times famously said he ate like 12 almonds a night, which I think was sort of a misnomer. That's not the right word for that, but miscalculation. Was it fake news? No, but I think they sort of just misinterpreted it slightly. I think I heard him say he didn't quite eat the exact number, but love almonds. Are they high fat snack? Yes, but I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about carbs are essential. That's to my, if they're a low carb snack and they fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. I also realized through this, I own way too many Beastie Boys shirts, but I'm an unabashed fan. This was a big year for the Beastie Boys. They released their book. Great book. I haven't listened to the audiobook yet, but I've heard it's amazing. Some great interviews came out. R.I.P. Adam Yauch. I'm wearing a Nathaniel Hornblower shirt there. And great inspirations. One of my favorite groups. Very, I don't know, this whole year, while this was all going on, I was sort of I've always been a fan, but sort of there was a lot of stuff to appreciate that came out this year. That was a nice retrospective year. This is the movie Challenge is going on in the background. I don't think I ever mentioned it out loud, but that's, of course, Bill and Ted's bogus journey, which I think is one of the best sequels. That's Belly. The first one, I believe, was Back to the Future, one of my favorite films. Belly, of course, I'd mentioned earlier. Sarah Violet Bliss, one of the co-creators of Search Party with Charles Rogers and Michael Showalter, asked me to do it. Dumb and Dumber. This is me in an airport. I am in an airport with I'm wearing Beastie Boys sweatshirt again. Embarrassed, but Dumb and Dumber diarrhea scene. This is me. Like, come on. I did that in an airport. Like, that's commitment to this stupid freaking bit. Of course, that there is Eternal Sunshine, one of my favorite films, and I saw it in the theater. And I think the first time I saw it, I don't know, it didn't hit me the first time. I mean, I thought it was really awesome and interesting, but it didn't hit me. And I feel like the second viewing, third viewing, that's one of those movies, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, the first R-rated movie film I saw in the theater with my dad and brother in 1991. But Eternal Sunshine, just such an amazing movie. Big Lebowski. So when I was in high school, my friends David Zarkin and Zach Simpkins started a bowling club inspired by the Big Lebowski called the Little Lebowski Suburban Achievers. And it was, it feels weird to like talk about a high school thing. Of course, Wet Hot American Summer, one of my favorite movies. Watched that in college and saw that in the theater, watched it in college all the time, and was lucky enough to write for the second season of the TV show. We started this bowling club that became popular, and it feels Wizard of Oz. Need I say more? Watch that over and over on VHS when I was a kid. It was a very popular club, and every Friday we would dress up in costumes, bowling shirts, stupid pants. Back to the Future 2 is the last movie of the film challenge, which I guess was an Instagram thing, it was really popular. I think it's probably the reason I got into my college was because I had dyed my hair blonde for the club, like me and the two other guys who created it, the club. You know, and then another reference to commitment. The other two had to dye their hair back. I bleached my hair blonde, and I kept it even through my college interviews. And that's the dumbest thing. Why did I do that? Just for the stupid bit to do for the first day of the new year of bowling. And so what does that say? It says commitment to a stupid idea is good. I think that might be the lesson to the whole thing. Of course, Jim Santangeli playing my lawyer there. One of my favorite people, funniest people in the world, Jim Santangeli. We did shows in New York together, and we worked together in the fall there. But yeah, Big Lebowski, the Little Lebowski Suburban Achievers, I feel like was my first. Why am I like, you care about my history and comedy? But I feel like that's before I did improv or anything. That was like the way to express my love of comedy or like making people laugh and stuff was that. So there. Is that important? I don't know. Who cares? We've got, let's see where we're at. Oh my God, only 8 minutes left. Wow. I'm really getting nostalgic about, I could not be, as I'm recording this, the screening is coming up. I'm going to screen this in front of an audience at Dynasty Typewriter. I'm very excited for people to watch this. I hope they like it. This is the dumbest thing ever, and I am also, as much as I am glad I did this, I'm so excited to be fully done with this. I'm releasing this baby into the world, and now the baby has grown wings, and I want to see the baby fly. I want to see the baby turn into a dove. That's what I want for my baby. The girls are calling woohoo, so I hope that happens. And I hope, that's so creepy. I'll just look at that. This is at some, I'd say like thrift store in Big Bear. We went to Big Bear for Thanksgiving or over Thanksgiving. We didn't go for Thanksgiving. We didn't go because Thanksgiving exists, but I had a break. So we went there, and this was great. This was a great dog beach, and our dog, Frank, look at him. There he is, right on cue. Perfect. He has perfect comic timing. And that was one of the first times we'll let him off leash obviously in parks and stuff, but to see him and he's been on beach before, but to see him just run up and down and play with other dogs on the beach. Now that's a nice way to spend your time off. This is my sore throat. So I think here I was trying to build it up to the finale of The Girls Are Calling Woohoo, and this is probably with like 3 weeks left. I was doing this whole thing of I lost my voice. Will I ever be able to sing Girls Are Calling Woohoo? And then eventually I think I just gave up on it because I was like, I can't sustain even this part of the bit for that long. St. James General Store mug. That's from Meryl's. Whoa, I just coughed right into the mic. I'm sorry. A general store near her hometown. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just mention that I'm wearing a Keith Haring related shirt from Turntable Lab, which is a record store in New York, and they are great. I look like know what it's like. I look like the way that I have my shoulders up, which is on purpose, but look like Al Pacino's character in Dick Tracy. That's a movie that is. I'm going to assume it's not a great movie. It's not. I don't know. Maybe it's not even good, but maybe it is. But it looks amazing. It's like a Hype Williams, like some of those movies that it's like form over function, or I don't even know. Aesthetically pleasing more than it's just like a great movie. Aesthetically pleasing movies, we need more of those. Just like they look good. Dick Tracy, they took a huge swing there. Huge swing. Paid off. And of course, Madonna, she plays a faceless bad guy. So, remember when Madonna, for some reason, did stand-up comedy on The Tonight Show? I implore you, if you have not seen that, Google it. I hope they've kept it up. I don't know why they would. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen on television. This is my bedroom. We got Frank licking my face. We got our ketubah in the background. That is the Jewish marriage, not license, but sort of marriage contract. And it says very nice things. We got someone in Brooklyn to do a very nice one for us. And as I'm talking about it, it's Hanukkah here. So this is my, I guess, Jewish pride segment, or me, the Jewish section right there. And me singing different versions of songs. And I'm going to put up the volumes just so I can hear. I feel like the next one is this. Some of these are all like Hanukkah songs, but then I remembered or I looked up Hanukkah songs. I can't remember if I looked it up or I just remembered it, but there was a Peter, Paul, and Mary song that I hadn't heard or thought about since I was a kid. This one. The girls are calling woohoo. What are the actual lyrics? Meryl? To that Peter, Paul, and Mary song? The girls are na 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 na. Meryl didn't know that one, but it's oh yeah, light one candle for the Maccabee children. Da, 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 da. But Meryl always points out that I have I think this might play into this whole thing too. But I went to Hebrew school. I went to nursery school at my Hebrew school at my synagogue, Westchester Reformed Temple. And all of the songs were so memorable. They all stuck in my head so hard. And sometimes they'll just pop in my head. And they are, nice memories and great tunes. And that was one that I hadn't thought of in forever. So this is sort of the retrospective. This is one of my favorite ones. I'm just going to let it play. This is the Harrison Ford one. I'm just very proud of how that came together. I won't say how it did, but let's see it. That just I'm very proud of that. This is one, this is, excuse me. I forget who I said this is, but this is from the mariachi band came to the final shoot of to celebrate the end of this. This is Colton Dunn right there. Search Party, and Starry Lee Kine was there, and she was nice enough to have the mariachi band, one of the members, sing "The Girls Are Calling Woohoo." Thanks to Colton Dunn for being part of and thanks to everyone who was part of it. I think I try to give shout outs to everybody who is involved. If I happen to have missed you, I'm really sorry. And sometimes I'll say this, a couple people sent me on Instagram videos of their kids singing it and stuff like that, and I didn't include it. And the reason is I just felt like I included my friend's kid because I know my friend and I didn't. It just felt weird to put other people's kids in it, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me being overly protective or something, but I just didn't feel comfortable with it. Speaking of Alex Waxman, that's his paint that he did that collage art behind there. This is me at Spokes Cafe. Let's see what the. This is Will. I'm saying that Will too runs. This is I made Will. The Girls Are Calling Woohoo is and became a show created by someone else, and this is like the final couple days. There's only a minute and a half left. So this is about the CEO and the office being empty. This was an office. I was working in that, had an empty office, and this is the Girls Are Calling Woohoo. And then we put together this concert for the Girls Are Calling Woohoo. This is the end, guys, and I want to say at the end, the second to last day, I tried to recreate the original one. This is the benefit, but the next day, and you can see, like, I recreated it, and we went to the same. It was a year later. It was December 24th. I filmed it, even though it went up the day before. Oh yeah, I forget. Maybe it was the day of the final one or not. But we went to the same. Meryl and I went to the same place to eat brunch and tried to do it on the same street. And Meryl, not quite as excited anymore about the project. I think as she said, it happened. Sort of. I feel like just we're exhausted by this, but of course Meryl shot this final one, and thanks to her and everyone else, and then that's showing the first one. Thank you, and I feel like that was the appropriate ending, or was it? Did it really happen? It happened? ? Thank you so much to everyone for watching and for being a part of the Girls Are Calling Woohoo. I implore you to. Take woohoo into your heart, do your own woohoo, and thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Send this to someone you love if you liked it.